Hello, Robbie Love. Thanks for joining. Hey, Apostle. Greetings to you as well. Thanks for joining. Hello, hello, hello. You out working, driving? Okay. Nice. Well, what you doing on your phone? If you driving. Oh, what you doing here? Oh, okay, left. I reckon that you're not driving right now. Oh, maybe taking a break, waiting on a ride. So, hello, Kingdom people. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Are you getting you some ice, Apostle? Okay. All right, all right. Just want you to be safe. That's all. Not that you're not. I'm just joking around. Hello, Kingdom people. Hello, hello, hello. So it is coffee time with Latricia. Got my coffee. Get your tea. Get your water. Got my water too. Your juice, whatever you're drinking. Apostle, you got your ice. And so, Kingdom people. Right. Absolutely. You know, every here and there, God will move me to speak on a Sunday. Normally, I don't even have to keep saying that. Every time God moved me to come on a Sunday, I have to explain. I don't normally do this, but it's somewhat becoming not a norm, but I never know when God gonna move me. And so this is some Kingdom people that it was something that was just showing itself to me. Some things that I had been experiencing, have experienced before, and recently I had a experience where I really didn't even want to hit on it or deal with it, or I kind of moved around it, but God had it so strong in my spirit this morning, and He just would not let me go, and He just like moving me to speak on it. So anyhow, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But what I want to speak to you about is the mergers. The mergers. So, okay, Apostle. Whatever works. I appreciate you being here. Just be safe. So, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go into the mergers. But I have to do a little story. I have to do a couple of stories here. So so you all know it's a new year. Let me say that first. It's a new year. And, some people, I've mentioned this before, some people are still the same. People still doing the same thing. A new year don't have anything to do with it, because when you're someone who's wanting to grow and develop and do what you need to do, it doesn't matter. New Year's don't necessarily mean much of nothing. But the reason why, what I mean by that, you're always growing, you're always changing, you're always doing what you need to do. But the reason why I mention it's a new year is because this is a different kind of a year. This is something totally different that God is doing, that is happening in this year. The earth has went through so many shifts. The earth is cleansing itself. God is shifting things. God is shifting His people, I mean, in a major way. And so it's a thing where if you're not included in that shift, in so many ways, you're being left behind. Let me explain. Okay. On yesterday, I left out of my door. My daughter and I left out my door. I put it like this. When I left out my door, it was some things outside my door that had happened, or that was there, that shouldn't be there, which means someone was there doing something. I have neighbors, but a neighbor in particular that just wants my attention so bad. But here's the thing, Kingdom people. So the neighbor had done something outside my door. And the day before that, yesterday, they had done something out my door too. And then after I went out and got in my car, they came behind me and got in their car, a couple of cars away from me. And what God showed me immediately, they wanted to show themselves. And later on, see that the neighbor has a thing where now they're trying to make me think, they want me to think they're like me. They had a backpack on their back. And sometimes I carry backpacks, when I'm going to do certain things. And I actually right now I've been carrying a backpack when I go work out. And so this day, the day before yesterday, I had that backpack. So a little bit after I came and got in my car, the neighbor come out with their backpack, which I don't even know whether they do or don't care. I don't know what they do because I don't pay attention to them at all. Like literally, I don't. But they go through extremes to get my attention, and I just ignore it. So anyhow, God pointed that out to me, made me aware of that they showed themselves. So now, yesterday, I come out, something else, probably didn't notice it before, the day before, but whatever, I noticed it yesterday. So I just laughed. I cracked up laughing, and I went about my business, Kingdom people. So my daughter and I, we went shopping for her some things that she needs for class. Some food items, like for baking. And we had to get eggs. And a dozen and a half of eggs, which is 18 eggs. Well, I didn't have to tell you that, but we got 18 eggs for, and when I was looking for the sign for how much they cost, and I couldn't find the sign, so I looked above and seen the organic eggs and the cage-free eggs were like $7 and something. So I was just like, wow, eggs are $7 now. So that was that. It's like whatever, I'm one of the mindset, I get what I need. And so whatever, you do what you have to do. I don't make an issue out of it, but as we already know, things are high these days. These costs have been going up. That's kind of somewhat normal. It's called inflation. For whatever reason is behind it, what's going on, whatever, it is what it is. So going on, I get in line, we checking out, and so when I scan the eggs, I go through the self-checkout, and when I scanned the eggs, they were like $6. I want to say 79 cents. They were close to 79. I mean, it's close to $7. So I'm like, wow, these eggs are almost $7. And I just started cracking up laughing. It just tickled me. I'm just laughing, like cracking up. Not hard, but I was really tickled. I was just tickled to the point that the man behind me, I didn't look at him, but I could feel him. Kind of the way he was moving and putting this stuff up on the I went through one of those checkouts where they got the long belt, and so at Walmart, and so he was bothered because I was laughing. He must have heard me talking about, oh, these eggs is almost $7, and I was laughing about it. King of the people, the man behind me was getting angry because I was laughing. I guess he say this ain't funny. And I get it, people do think like that, but I'm in my own world, doing my own thing. It was funny to me. So I get my things and I'm going, on about my business. And, what I noticed is this. What God kind of pointed out to me, he said to me, when I walked out the door, it was something out there. Like it was designed to make me trip or to respond, or to what the next door neighbor, what they want me to do is come to them, because they want me to come and say, do you know, or did you, or something like that, which I won't do. Because I already know. And this is the kind of thing, is even if you did, which I wouldn't, this is the kind of person who will say, oh, I don't know, I didn't. But it's them, that kind of a game. So I'm saying all that to say, the first thing was designed to get me all in a, and I did. And I laughed. I'm just laughing at everything because I tend to do that. Then I laughed at the eggs, upset the man behind me because it was funny. Went on about my business. Later on that evening, I noticed something that, went down in numbers. And so I started laughing. I'm like, whatever, I was just laughing. So this morning, God brought all that back to my attention. And he said first to me, he said, he was just pointing out to me how he was pointing out the enemy to me. And so he started specifically talking to me. And well, part of why I laugh like that too, he reminded me, I'm of the mindset, I didn't even realize it in that moment, but I'm of the mindset of when things go up, when prices are going up, that means I'm going up. That means my money is going up. My wealth is coming. My finances are going up. That's how I think. And it's real. It's what happens. That's what I believe. That's what kind of understanding I have with God. And I stand on that. But in that moment, when I was laughing about the eggs, I wasn't thinking that. God actually reminded me of that this morning. That's why it was funny to me. I didn't even connect at the moment where that means my wealth is going up, my money coming up. But it was all these little things that were really there and designed to, take me out of my happy zone, so to speak. Those things that, make you respond and make you trip in a negative manner, like some may do with eggs. I don't know, maybe some of you do with things that when prices are going up. You have to be careful with that. I've come to learn that restricts you. That restricts you. But again, depending on where everybody is different. But I'm speaking for me. I don't really trip on things like that. So moving right along. God's talking to me about, hey, man, Miss Sheila. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, Miss Amanda. Thank you all so much for joining. God, and he does, Miss Sheila, like literally, when you do that, you have to have a wealth mindset, but that's a whole nother subject I ain't trying to get into right here, because I understand some people don't resonate with that, but I'm just pointing that out. That's, you have to almost think what you want, but like I said, that's an agreement. That's something that you have to come into agreement with God, because God wants you wealthy. So even when you don't have it, before you get there, as God is elevating you, you can't be saying you don't have it. You have to be very careful of what you're speaking out your mouth and what you're believing and feeling. You have to believe and act as if you already got it. I'm reminded of, call those things that be not as though they are. He in the beginning, I'm just reminded in Genesis, in the beginning, God said, let there be light. He spoke everything into existence. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, let me go on with this so I can get this out. So God will really start speaking to me, because this young lady that lives next door to me is demonic. Very much so. And I'm very aware of it. It's being things that have transpired, but it doesn't really faze me or bother me. I'm aware. You know how people are doing things to try to get you to do this and get you to respond. They set themselves up or position themselves, but all along you knowing exactly what they're doing, but they don't know that you know exactly what they're doing. It's that kind of a thing. But I'm very aware that this person is, they have some stuff going on. They have some deep stuff going on. They watch me and stalk me. They just have a whole, and I'm not saying any of this to talk down about them. I'm saying it to make a point what it is. But God began to speak to me about, he said, because I was talking to God and I said, I wouldn't dare say anything to them about that. I'm not concerned about it. I ain't worried. It's not an issue to me. Because that's how I look at certain things. It doesn't bother me. I can move around a whole lot of stuff and not be fazed. But what I've come to understand is that I move in a way, and maybe you do too, kingdom people. You kingdom people. So either you are already moving in a certain kind of way or you're learning to. But I move in a way that it's not normal. With normal people, if we're going to call them normal, I just heard worldly people, carnal people, they don't get it. And some so-called godly people, but they're carnal, and I'm hearing modern day Pharisees, they don't understand, because they don't get the way you move, because they're used to people reacting and responding a certain way and out of emotion, not having that control. They don't understand when you just move different. So when they setting things up and doing things, they're not used to somebody not responding in the manner that they're accustomed to. So God, I told God I would not even dare, do any of that or go there or speak on anything. I don't even have a hello for this person. I really see them in passing, but in a couple of times that I have, it's not that I on purpose, like I'm not speaking to them. I I just can't. I literally have this thing in me where when something off or somebody is demonic to that point and they're trying to chime in on me and do something with me, my spirit won't even let me get nothing out. Not that I be trying to either. I just let it be what it is. But so what I know and what I understand is this. I said, it's a thing where you can't feed demons. I said, I don't do that. I don't feed demons. When I know and identify that that's what you are. And God corrected me. And he said, principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. He said that's what that is in her. And people like that. And I'm going to say that again. Principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So I'm like, yeah, I see that. Because this person was acting super demonic. And then when I got home yesterday evening, I, had coffee. I had a drink from Caribou. And when I walked in the door, I guess she let her son out and he ran through the hall, and it was like it was like real demonic. And my daughter even said, they crazy. And I said, yeah, and I kept hearing the word deranged yesterday. I kept hearing deranged. And they're deranged. But God kept talking, he was talking to me this morning, he kept saying principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. He was saying to me, that's what that is. And this ain't just this person. This is what we seeing out here moving around. And it's at an all-time high. And I can't go too much into that, but there's so many things that's going on, what they putting out here with just a lot of those ones who supposedly control everything and behind the scenes of what, and some in your face, what they're doing. I don't even want to, God just gave me something, but I can't say that. You're not telling me to say no. Well, he just gave me something. I'm going to say it like this. It's something that we had to take not long ago because of a certain, what, that was out here. And it starts with a P. It starts with a C. Emic. That's the end of it. It's the emic. Mimic. I'm going to say that. I don't want to say too much. But God just literally dropped that on me. It's driving people crazy. Not only is it driving people crazy, they're more open to demonic possession. Not that they already weren't, but it's these people are going more and more crazy. And God said principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So what I'm getting to is this. I don't feed demons. I starve them. So when demons are trying to get my attention and get me to engage with them, I do the complete opposite. Because you have to understand that when you feed principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places, I was going to say demons, but God keep correcting me. You're giving it life. You're giving it life. That's why it's so important to disengage demonic entities. I'm hearing again, principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places, because that's what you're really dealing with. And that's scripture, of course. And before that, it says our warfare is not carnal. So we're not dealing with no people. We're dealing with principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. Not that we dealing with it, but that's what that is in these individuals, because they have been demonically possessed. And so God was just pointing that out to me. Now, this is an individual that watches me, and God was even just kind of showing me how, they looking at, feel like I got something, and then whatever they going through in their life, they want to trying to get in my life. But I've been there for 8 months or so now, and nothing. I kid you not, this person been trying, and they do their little stuff, and they go sit down and calm down for some days, and then they, I'm used to it. It doesn't even faze me any. You asked me, do I have any devils in my devices? I don't know, but I tell you what, no. I'm going to say no. Let me tell you why I don't. Because God, the light casts out all darkness. I just read that scripture today. Darkness can't overtake light. So even when they trying to do what they trying to do, now I will say this. There have been attempts in my devices. But like I said, I don't worry and concern myself about not one thing. You know why? Because I know that people are not going to succeed with what they're trying to do. And I'm hearing principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places are not going to succeed at what they're trying to do. That doesn't mean I'm not careful. That doesn't mean I'm not cautious. But in fact, I am. but I don't worry and concern myself. They do what they want, they do. Well, I don't know. You can't, you've said this before at another time. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a opening for that. They could try, which is what I'm speaking of. How they would try to penetrate you, your devices too. They can't get in nothing that belongs to me because I belong to God. Like for real, for real. So I don't even concern myself about that, which leads to another thing. They do tend to do things to try to scare you. But again, I'm not moved. I'm not moved by devils and demons and warlocks. I've been dealing with devils and demons, witches and warlocks all my life. At one time, didn't even know that that's what I was dealing with, and was still trumping and overcoming and conquering. Not even knowing it at one point, but was doing it. So at this point in my life, it doesn't faze me. Again, careful, cautious, and paying attention to what's going on. But Bubba, I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to block you. I don't know what to tell you. You've done this before, and I'm not here. I don't know. Maybe you need to go get some help or some delivery. I don't know what to tell you, sir. Anyway, I kind of don't want that on here. Because that's just, it's distracting. Anyhow, that's what the mergers want to do. Want to merge with you. I'm not saying that's what you want to do, but from what you described, you know, and now you're trying to merge with me with that. And I'm not her. I'm not her. I'm making a point here. So anyhow, that's interesting. Bubba, I pray you get that taken care of. Because like I said, you said this before on here, and it's been a minute. So for you to still be describing the same thing means, I don't know. I don't know your situation, your circumstances. But I'm protected. They can't touch nothing here. I don't feed demons. Is what I... Principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, that's what they are. So, okay, kingdom people, you got to be careful to not participate with them and engage them, because you feed them. You're feeding them your light. You feed them. You're giving them life. That's how God gave it to me this morning, which I know. But he was just really talking to me about that thing over there. He said that's like I said, deranged. And we know what deranged is. That's like gone. That means a human person ain't even there no more. The person, the God spirit that was probably originally there is gone. You know, many a times people, psyches have been fragmented, and their consciousness has been just ripped. And they're not even, whatever happened to them in life, whatever they experienced, and how they handled it. You know, and that can be for different people, and for that's something I ain't trying to go into all that psychological. That's part of why I ain't messing with psych. I was thinking about that. Like, I even told my daughter that when she said they crazy, and I said, yeah, and that's exactly why I didn't go into continue with counseling and being a psychiatrist. Shut that down real fast, because I can't deal with crazy people. That's not for everybody. There are some people. I have to deal with people that's ready to move forward, and I can help move them along their way. Not saying that they, you know, what I mean by that is when you got deeper stuff going on, I don't want to get in that. I'm not one of them kind of people that like to read up and look at those TV shows about people doing crazy. I ain't into it. I think it's spooky. That's me. And it's everything for not for everybody. And then that kind of stuff can get in your spirit. And I'm very big on protecting my spirit and my energy, which is why I don't engage certain entities. I can pick up on what they are. It's not hard for me, at least at all, especially these days, because God has removed the veil. Ain't nothing hidden no more, kingdom people. Everything is exposed, in case you didn't know. Everything is right out there in the open, and it's on purpose, because God is removing the veil. He's then pulled the wool off, the cover off, I guess, so to speak, what I'm trying to say. So anyhow, what God was showing me about this individual at this point, they're trying to merge with me. He said they're trying to merge with you. What do I mean by that? They're trying to become one. Because people recognize when you have something that they don't have. It could be confidence, it could be strength, it could be drive, it could be whatever it is that they lack. But mind you, in this case, this person is operating, what's operating in them is principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So what am I saying? Principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places want to merge with you. They want what you have. The devil wants what you got. They're trying to feed. They want to feed from what you have because it's life. It's life. Your light, what you being connected to God like you are, is life to them. They could be hanging out with all kind of people, have all kind of people in their life, but it ain't good enough when you right there, and in their mind they have access to you and they can try to merge with you because others are not fulfilling to them. It's when you are God's elect, when you are, kingdom people, when you are chosen, whatever the case may be, when you are a person of God who's really walking in that, and it doesn't mean you're perfect because it's a walk, but you have some of that already going on in you, and they can sense that and pick up on that because they know that they not that. They want to merge with you. Merge. This is what God has been giving me. Merge. And it does show itself in a way of trying to use you, get in your life. It can come off as messy. You know how some people just messy because they messy. That's just what they are. So they're trying to engage you in they messy way and just trying to have some kind of something going on with you so they can have that exchange so they can ultimately merge with you. Sometimes this is known as siphoning your energy or harnessing your energy. You cannot give your energy to anyone. Yes, spiritual transmitted diseases, absolutely. And that's what and sometimes it's a thing, what I call trading places, where sometimes they're trying to give you all their mess and take on your spirit. They're trying to take what you are and pass on to you what they are. They're trying to trade places with you, but they have to have that, they have to have some kind of exchange or relationship or dialogue going with you to be able to do it, which is again why you literally can't, it's something that you can't play with. It's something that you absolutely have to listen. Let me just keep on going. I think you get my point. These are principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places operating in these people. Now, there are some out here, they are copiers. Yeah, that too, because they do want your visions. They don't have those. Some people, listen, when you wake up every day, because you know you on purpose, you have a mission. Even if you don't know what exactly, you wake up every day with some kind of something in mind to get something done. Everybody don't do that, even if you taking a day to relax. You relaxing on purpose because you need to take a day because God said rest. These people, these kind of people with these principalities and spiritual weakness in high places, either they wake up to try to see who they can bother, because some of them do that, or they come to a place where that's kind of mellowed out, especially when you around, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're new on the scene or something like that, and they're trying you. That kind of minimizes that attempt some because it doesn't work on you. But what I'm really getting to here is many people wake up with no vision, with no mission, with no purpose, with no aim. They just there like this, and they watch you, and you clearly someone who about your business. You clearly doing something. You got something going on. You wake up with purpose. You wake up doing something. Some of these people don't have anything going on in their life, and if they do, it's not fulfilling or it's not where God would have them to be. And they can recognize when you are on a proper path, and they know they're not. And sometimes I want to say they don't know how to do that, but Listen, that's a whole nother thing, because the answer ain't never to merge with somebody else. What God, me and God discussed today is they need to merge with God. I was reminded today of several years ago, I learned of this method. I can't remember what it's called, but it's some kind of method where you can you can connect with certain people and get their energy. And you can I'm like, that's kind of spooky. You can even do it by reading their books, even people that have passed on. And it's a real thing. And I've read people books and I can feel them and I connect to certain things they said. But when I learned of this method, I'm like, that's crazy. The only person I would want to merge with and take on and embody, because that's in essence what it was teaching you to do, is Jesus. Jesus, God. That's what I'm thinking. I said, when I heard of that, it actually helped me level up in doing that. I'm like, I want to embody Jesus. I want to take on Jesus. Now, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by others and learning from others and even feeling connected to others and resonating with others. And sometimes you do, God does a thing of transference of spirit, but I think God needs to be the one doing that. It's different when you're doing it because of lack and you're trying to attach yourself to someone and merge with someone to fulfill your lack, or your whatever it is that you're not having, because you don't have it. You have to do the work. Or if anything, like I said, merge with God. Because kingdom people, when people are looking at you and they see what you are and what you have and how they know that you lack that, you are merging with God. That's how you are that way. It's God in you. Whether it be strength, they feel like they lack, that they see in you, confidence, and that's a big one. That's something that's been going around. The strength and confidence and drive. And I'm hearing insight. When you have insight and understanding, it's because you're connecting with God. And yeah, it may be some words or some literature to go in scripture to go along with that, but you're merging and you're connecting with God. But these ones want to merge with you because you're doing the work. And now, part of why you have to not let them do that is because they can contaminate your spirit. Because just think about if you merging with somebody who's poisonous. Now, it's different with someone that God may use you to help someone, to lift somebody up. You're not merging with them. You're edifying them. You know, doing what you need to do, but they're not trying to merge with you. But you do have to be kind of careful with that too, because people will become accustomed to what you're doing and like what you're doing, and they will start to try to merge with you. In fact, that leads me to somewhat to these others that's been another thing that's been going on, copiers. People that like to copy you, and they copy you, kingdom people, because they see something in you that they like, that they desire, that they want to do. Now, it doesn't mean, again, you can't be inspired by someone, but in these cases, it may not be intended. Listen, I'm put it like this: that may not be what God has for them in the way they're trying to do what they're doing, because again, you go to God and let God work those things out in you. But they can see something in you, and sometimes they're not even aware that they're doing it. People are not always aware that they're doing it. But I have this thing, whether it's unconscious for them, whether they're not conscious to it, whether they are conscious or not, I'm conscious to it. So if I can see what's happening, what's going on, it's up to me to protect myself and, move around that situation or person, because I'm aware. When it's being aware gives you an advantage, because it helps you to navigate, and it helps you to avoid a lot of pitfalls and get caught up in traps. And I'm just reminded of how the scriptures say, know the truth and you will be free. Know the truth. If you know what's up, you free, because you can avoid the bondage. And in this case, them principalities and spiritual wickednesses that's trying to merge with you. And so the copycatters, what unfortunately they don't have, and I'm hearing God say they might have, but some people don't tap into and connect with themselves and connect with the God in them and with God to do it the proper way. Sometimes they can admire you so much that they want to be what they see. And then some of them ones, you know how that go, they hate you, but they trying to do you at the same time. But it's still the same. They see something in you that they desire. They see something in you that they want. They see something in you that they're attracted to. But again, they have to merge with God. not you. That's the proper way, because when they're trying to merge with you, that's literally a violation. That's kind of intrusive. And God desires for us to connect with him and be in relationship with him and get all these things, everything we need from him, not trying to get it through others. And again, we all help us one to another, but we ain't supposed to be merging with no other people like that. Then we have the competitors. And the competitors, usually sometimes people try to copy you first. And that's not enough. Or they feel like they can't. They feel like they can't really do it. They're not succeeding at it. So they resort to competing. And this morning, God brought to my attention someone that was doing this. With some other things that had transpired with this person. I just kind of move around them. And God showed me that they competing. Was showing me something that they doing now and how they competing. And I was like, let them do that over there. And I have that attitude. Let people compete over there. Because I don't care to see it. I'm not going to engage it because I'm not in no competition with other people. But unfortunately, some people are with you. But this is the thing. That's because you set the standard, kingdom people. They see something in you that they desire. So and then sometimes it's a combination of copying and competing and trying to outdo you in that competition. So they have to study you to see what you're doing, to try to be like you, but then let me compete with you and try to do better than you. God pointed something out to me this morning about somebody that called themselves competing with me. He said they don't have any money, and they feel like you got money, and they want to compete with you. And I was just like, what? That don't even make sense to me. But sometimes these things don't make sense. The whole thing is they want to be able to, but they need you to do it. When somebody needs you and have to watch you to compete with you, to try to do what you do or try to outdo what you do, I'm going to say this. As I'm saying that, I'm like, that's off. That just shows you how they're lacking within. And I'm hearing again, principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places got them acting like that. That's what's operating in them, which goes back to what I was saying. I disengage, I withdraw. And when I said let them compete over there, because I don't care, I don't engage, there ain't in no competition with nobody. That is not what I do. And so again, sometimes you got to turn away from it and not even tune into it and do that over there. But they want you to engage. Why, kingdom people? Because spiritual principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places need you to feed it. So when you engage it, and I'm not saying any of you engage competition, but you have to be careful with just moving around it completely, because that's another way that they're trying to feed from you. That those principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places is trying to get life from you. It's through competition, trying to compete with you, even if you're not in the competition with them. But they want you to either engage or at least notice that's what they're doing. But even if you notice, the best thing to do is just turn away from it. Stay over there with that. Compete with me over there by yourself. That's what they're doing anyway. But sometimes they want you to know that that's what they're doing, because they want you to respond. I'm hearing one up, tick for tack. We ain't about that life, kingdom people. We are who we are. What we need to compete with you for? But people who competing is because they don't know who they are. They trying to be you or outdo you in not knowing who they are. And sometimes they do know somewhat who they are, but they still have things going on in them. That's another thing that I was experiencing, where people that have things going on in them who are who we are. We are who we are. Okay. I was like, yeah, they are scared to face themselves. Yes, run your own race. Winners don't look back to see where the other runners are. They run towards the finish line. I love that, Lady Summer. Hey, Lady Summer. So look, it's so funny because I woke up this morning in my spirit. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. This part they say, my review can't compare to what God will do do it in my life. Something like that. Yeah. I know my rear view can't compare to what God will do in my life. We be moving forward. And these people be trying to copy you and compete with you and get you engaged and want you to notice and see. They will like literally try to put it in your face so you can see it sometimes. So that you can, that in their mind, that's giving. And if you give attention to it, you're feeding. You're feeding principalities and spiritual weakness in high places. And look, God gave me this. Matthew 5:38-39. And it says, but I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. And that just means turn away. Don't engage that stuff. Sometimes you got to look away from stuff and be like, I remember when I was younger. Yeah, when I was younger. This was like some years ago. And I don't want to say who, but somebody would come by my house, where I was at my mom's house when I was staying with my mom at one point. And my youngest brother, who's now not with us anymore, he used to be cracking up at me because these certain people used to come. They used to be doing all these things to try to aggravate me and bother me and make me jealous. And it was a couple, and it was weird. And the guy was someone I used to deal with, and I wasn't any longer, but I have a child with him. I kind of told some stuff, but whatever. But my brother used to crack up laughing because they would be right here. You know, we'd be on the porch, just the porch, and they would be in front of, right standing in front. And I'd be like standing off to the side, like at the bottom of the porch and talking. We communicate. And they'd be doing all these things, him and her. And you could tell it was so obvious. And I would look this way. I would look away from him. My brother would be up at the top of the porch cracking up. It would crack him up because I was turned away from it. And it was weird because here we are trying to have a conversation, communicating, and y'all doing all these things. But anyway, the point, I don't know why I said that, but it's to get me engaged and or to make me pay attention, because when you give it attention, you're feeding it. What you give attention to, you giving your energy. Principalities and spiritual wickedness need your energy, your attention to survive, to live, to continue. So when you don't pay it no attention, when you don't engage it, you're starving principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So I have another story. There was a young lady that I was cool with. She was somewhat younger than me. She was cool. She had, she was nice, and she had done some things for me that were very nice. She had gifted me with a couple of things, and I was appreciative. She would always kind of encourage me and, just say how, she appreciated me or whatever it is that I was doing. So, it was cool. And it came to a point, I slightly mentioned this before, but God brought all this to me today. And because he was talking about merging, the mergers. And this is a woman of God. Let me just be clear. This is a woman of God. But what happened was this person offered their, kind of said something to me of the effect of, if you need somebody to talk to, they sent me a message. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm here or whatever, something like that. And went on to say, don't let the devil make you think, I forget, because it's been a little bit, not that long ago, but I don't remember. I don't be hanging on to this stuff. But God brought it all to my attention today. And so, and it was like the devil will make you think you alone and try to have you in isolation, something like that. And so I was just kind of like, well, thank you. I was very, grateful for that. Thank you. And I just want to say, well, I'd rather deal with things on my own. That's just how I do things, And I don't really concern myself about isolation and who else going through it. And she said something like, the devil wants you to think you're the only one going through it. And I said something like, I don't get caught up in that. I really don't get caught up in who else going through it and I need to talk to somebody. That's just me. And I said, I get that people do, but I just really don't have an issue, and I don't mind. I like to work through things on my own, me and God. And anybody right now can tell you at this point in my life, I don't go to nobody to talk about whatever I'm going through and working through. I literally work through it. And experience has taught me to do that, but also God has put me in a place to do that, to only come to him. It doesn't mean that I don't speak on things, you know, in certain instances, but when it comes to those deeper things and those issues that I'm walking through and I'm going through, and I'm not saying that it's not okay to do that. What I'm saying is I'm just not in a place where that's what I'm needing to do. So I just kind of expressed that in a very nice way. And so this person responded and said, because you know, I had mentioned at another point some things that was going on with the neighbor to make a point. And so they can't respond it by saying, well, I'm sorry what you got going on with your neighbors. And it was weird because that's what they response was. So it was very obvious that they're trying to push. And God eventually gave me merge. But they were doing it in a way like reversing everything. It's almost like I'm offering you to, you know, you could talk to me. I was supposed to say it back. But I didn't feel that way. I already was doing that, but I just didn't feel led to offer that because I'm not the person to be doing that with, per se, unless it just happened. It's like if you just come to me and you say, hey, this is and other, then I might respond and say, oh, well, yeah. We had that kind of a situation. I didn't know him that well, but we were cool like that. We were not like close buddies or nothing like that, but we were cool. I would even say we were developing something, you know, but, you know, this is what it is for me. So anyway, when the person said, you know, something about sorry what you're going through with your neighbors, I said whatever I said. And I said, well, that's not really a big deal. I just said that to make a point. I'm like, they do their little stuff, then they go somewhere and sit down. I'm like, I'd have been through worse and overcome. So that's not anything. I'm like, but thank you. You know, I appreciate your, you know, compassion or empathy or whatever I said. And so that was that. So that was that. The end of that. So God kind of revealed to me after the fact that this person felt like, and I experienced this before not long ago with someone else. What happens sometimes is they make a pick up on maybe you going through something. I'm like, my thinking is, it's always something happening because spiritual warfare is always happening. But again, I know how to work through my stuff. But God was making me, I was being made aware, let me say it that way, that this person felt like if they pick up on you and they're aware that you're going through something, they feel like you should run everything down to them. And if you don't, you mishandle them. And I said, wow. I mean, it felt that way because when they were talking to me, it felt intrusive. It felt like merging. That's what I'm getting to. And that's what I kept hearing, merging. First I got trauma bonding, but then I started getting merging. But God gave me merging later because what happens is when people recognize your strength and your ability to conquer things, I don't even want to say on your own with God, because that's ultimately what it is. Maybe that I'm not gonna say they don't have that, but all I know is in these instances, it was like they were trying to merge. Some people will try to merge with you because of the strength they see in you, because of the confidence they see in you, whatever it is they see in you that they feel they lack or they're struggling with. And these can be good people. Sometimes they're not even conscious of what they're doing. And so that's what God kept giving me, merging. But this is kind of somewhat too what I want to speak on, hit on. You can't, you know, force people just because you're aware, or you may know that they're going through something, or you may pick up on their energy. That don't mean they have to explain to you. People have a right to have their privacy and to share when they want to. And so this God was showing me that this person feel like, you know, they feel like you did them wrong because you didn't want to share. Maybe you don't want to, you know, maybe you don't want to share. Some things is private for you. And it's like, let people share if they want to. But this is so I'm saying all this to say people would turn, that's, God gave me, I'm going to say what it is. Like I said, this particular person is a woman of God. I'm not ever going to take that from them. But what God showed me is that sometimes you can have issues or something going on in you that's whatever, that ain't dealt with, or maybe just ain't got around to it. Maybe it ain't been pointed out to you. God ain't dealt, whatever. But those be opening doors for spiritual principalities and spiritual wickedness to creep in. And then they'll try to turn it around on you. But see, that's what I kept getting, a trick of the enemy. God kept speaking to me too when all this was happening. The trick, that's a trick of the enemy, because it is. How do you turn around somebody not want to divulge all, and it's not just with me. I've learned that this is something that this person does. And if somebody, because that you're trying to impede on somebody's personal, their private self, their private parts, not parts and body parts, but their private self. And it's not respectful or appropriate. But God said that people would do that when they're trying to merge with you. And even would try to make it seem, and then the person, in this case, God showed me, they feel like I should have apologized. I should have apologized for not wanting to divulge and share what I'm. First of all, I wasn't going through nothing in particular and specific. I'm always just dealing with life. I'm not walking around just talking to people about every dealings that I'm having with life. I deal with, it's life, for goodness sake. If I feel like I need to talk to somebody, I know how to reach out and talk to the people that I feel like I can't talk to. Like I said, in this case, I did explain that, thank you, but that's, I'm just going to leave that there because I don't want to say too much about that. But the point that I'm making here, Kingdom People, is what God was showing me is they were trying to merge with me. This person was trying to merge with me. And he really had this on my spirit to speak on today because, again, when people are copying you, that's kind of what they're trying to do. When they're trying to compete with you, that's what they're trying to do. And if they're able to engage with you and befriend you, and sometimes you already in relationship with some of these people, and they be trying to merge with you. But for me, Kingdom People, my spirit can pick up on when somebody doing that with me. Like, for instance, when that happened, it had happened before. I had experienced this quite a few times, so I know it when I see it. My spirit just get, how your spirit just, it's alerted, and it's like it knows what's happening, even if it don't have the words. It just felt violated. Your spirit feels violated, like it's trying to be penetrated. And that's in this case trying to merge with you. Even if in a moment you don't get exactly what's happening, you just know you're uncomfortable. You just know, you don't want to let whatever is happening in. And sometimes you be minding your business, you ain't bothering nobody, and here they come trying to impede on you. But yeah, that's what God gave me. Ultimately, they are trying to merge with you. Intrusive and want to know, sometimes intrusive and wanting to know your personal information. Sometimes people just want to know your stuff. And it's nothing new, but the point that I'm making here is sometimes people are trying to literally merge. They're trying to become one with you. And you want to be really careful with that, or just be aware of that. I know I spoke to that about a client of mine not long ago, because God just had me mention merging to her for some reason. And God kind of gave me, because people are going to try to be doing that with her. And she's someone who's working on her businesses. She's building some things. She's separated herself from a lot of people, and they sad-eyed her and tripping with her because she's moving forward. She's disconnecting from anything that doesn't serve her. But for some reason, God just told me to mention to her, people were going to be trying to merge with her, because people do try to merge with greatness. People do try to merge with, and sometimes these be people that got it in themselves, but it's something in them that they feel that they lacking that you have. And again, sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes it's conscious. I've had experiences where people knew exactly what they were doing. Like I said, when people are trying to siphon your energy or harness your energy, when it's used in them terms, they usually know exactly what they're doing. But again, sometimes it's unconscious. But you have to be conscious so that you can protect yourself. You can protect your spirit. You can protect your energy. And again, if you're in tune with yourself and you're in tune spiritually, you will know your spirit just it's almost like you constrict, like you close up inside, because you feel something is trying to come in that does not belong, that should not be there. And again, sometimes when people are doing that, if you were to say anything to them or point it out there, just turn it into, well, you know how they go. No, that ain't. And sometimes people think that you owe them that because of who they are to you. It could be mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, grandmama, grandpapa, your pastor, the president. Only person that can merge with you, they got a right to merge with you, is Jesus the Christ. Anybody else, I mean, I just heard your husband, but that's a little bit different. Your husband or your wife, that's a little bit different, because husband and wife are supposed to be one, but they still supposed to be their own individual. They're not supposed to be merging and taking on each other's characteristics unless God is doing that. Unless God is doing transferences, but they're not supposed to be trying to take you on and what you are. Yes, being around each other, you will kind of somewhat naturally do that, which is why it's important to be equally yoked, which is why it's important to not be unequally yoked, because if you're unequally yoked, you may just be taking on some stuff that's not of God. But even though in many cases God protects you, because I know I've been in those situations, but it was a time for me learning and training, but God was teaching me and he was protecting me. So he protects you in those beginning stages. But it comes to a point, I'm hearing, when I was a child, I behaved as a child. I think I'm saying it right. I spake as a child. When I became grown, hey, I put away those childish things. So at some point, and then you got to grow up. God is growing us up through our walk, through our journey. So he will protect us. And then at some point, it's like you have to see things for yourself and make decisions and protect yourself. You have to play a part in protecting yourself when he's showing you these things. When you don't know, when you don't know, God, when he show you, he'll take you back to when you don't know and show you some things. And you'll be like, oh, okay. So anyhow, Kingdom people, I'm going into an hour here. I didn't even mean to be here this long. I always say that, don't I? Beware of the mergers. Be mindful of the mergers. If you feel in your spirit somebody trying to merge with you, you might want to turn away from them. Distance yourself from them. That ain't it, Kingdom people. But people, these principalities and spiritual weaknesses in high places operating in these people who are open prey, who are possessed, demon possessed, they're trying to merge with you. They ain't just trying to stop you, block you. They're trying to merge with you, Kingdom people. They want to take on what you are. The only time, sometimes what happens is, I don't want to go too much. I just said I was ready to go, but it's just a thought that came to me. I don't even want to say, I'm going to say it. It's on me, like, just say it. Stop, block, all that. They try to do that. At some point, when they realize that's not happening, they be trying to merge with you. Because they like, I want that. Because they stuff ain't working. So they recognize you have something. Not that they did before. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to stop block. But after all those tactics didn't work, they want to be one with you. In fact, it reminds me of the fact that many people that maybe you've walked away from, they feel your absence. And they want that. They want to be able to merge with you now, because when you were there, sometimes they didn't even realize what you provided for them. God been given to me, you were their covering. You were people's covering, Kingdom people. They just didn't even have a clue. And so now that God has separated you, they can feel the covering is gone. They feel naked, like Adam and Eve. God said, who told you you was naked? They know now they naked, because you gonna know. But anyway, Kingdom people, beware of the mergers. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. I love you all so very much, Kingdom people. I so much appreciate you being here with me. And yeah, you all know I don't want to leave you, but I do have to go right now. But I will be back to hold my Kingdom people down. Kingdom people, listen. Let the Holy Spirit lead you in all things at all times. For real, for real. Because these mergers is out here. And they trying to merge with all that good God that you got in you. All that Holy Ghost, all that Holy Spirit, all that light, all that anointing. They're trying to merge with that so they can have it for themselves. But remember, Kingdom people, we are untouchable. We are unstoppable. We are unmovable. And we are unbreakable. That is my time. Kingdom people, Jesus girl is out. Peace.